The Amhara are facing a brutal unfolding human rights crisis. Homes and businesses destroyed, whole communities forced from their land, and civilians killed or arbitrarily detained. Our reports from the ground speak of horrific abuses, including mutilation and sexual violence, and witnesses' accounts say special forces from other regions have been involved. At the same time, widespread arrests, overcrowded detention sites, and a collapsing economy are making daily survival harder for ordinary people. In response, Amhara fighters have consolidated under the Amhara Fano National Force, seen by many locals as the only protection left. But their rise risks widening the conflict into a broader civil war, because independent investigations, humanitarian access, and urgent international attention are needed now to document abuses, protect civilians, and push for accountability, because behind every report are families who have lost everything and communities that need more than slogans, they need help. Well, today on the conversation, I'm joined by Dr. Senait Senay, Director, Genocide Prevention in Ethiopia and Amhara Guard Strategic Studies Group member. She's in the U.S. Thank you so much, Dr. Senay, for joining us at this time.
Thank you very much, Dashan. It's great to be back.
It's a pleasure. Now, when the conflict began, Fano fighters were national heroes, allies who had just fought the Tigray War. How does the government justify turning its guns on former partners? What is the moral cost of waging war against the very communities that once served as its essential defense?
Thank you very much. Great question. So as me and my colleagues got actually on this station and described before, that war, it wasn't a matter of the Amhara forces, the allied forces, whether it's the Amhara Special Forces or the Fanos. It wasn't being allied to the government. It was just there was an overlapping situation where there were areas or territories that were annexed by the TPLF-led government back when they were leading the country. That was the only reason why they involved in the war. It wasn't because there was a strategic partnership or alliance. The Amharas were actually a target of the system, this ethnic federalism system that has been put in place in the early 1990s. So continually, the Amharas have been targeted by the ruling regimes, whether it was the TPLF-led regime and now the Oromo Prosperity Party-led regime, which is led by essentially Dr. Abiy's government. So basically, those 2 years that where it appeared for the international community, the Amhara forces were aligned with the government. It was just an overlap, a common interest, where the TPLF were also after territories that were, taken from the Amhara people, and there were actual atrocities committed by TPLF. So the Amhara people were actually just protecting themselves. At the end of the day, however, this government, this regime, was from day one, even before the northern one started in 2020, when the reform took place in 2018. They were already targeting Amharas around the capital city Addis Ababa and around Walaga in the west of Ethiopia, and Matakkal, another hotspot, genocidal hotspot for Amharas. So targeting Amharas have been ongoing throughout the last 6-7 years by this government. Now it came to a full-blown war. That's how it went. So it was always animosity between the regime and Amhara people.
And with estimated conflict deaths, at over 7,700 in just 2 years, that's between 2023 and 2025. This is quite a crisis of catastrophic scale. But why is this tragic loss of life, equivalent to a major natural disaster, failing to break through the international media and also political noise? Why?
Again, another good question. This has been a targeting against people that has been done systematically for over 35 years. So you can imagine the Amhara people have been demonized, have been, have been taken as an enemy of state for over 35 years. So the policy, the system, even people who are deployed in terms of representing the country in embassies across the world, they tend not to send Amharas out. So the entire nation has been conspiring against Amharas for years. So whatever happens within the country is very well hidden. Even if you compare the Northern War that went on between 2020 and 2022, it had huge international coverage. Whereas the war on Amhara that started around April 2023 and it's still raging and ongoing, it didn't get a lot of international coverage, and that is because it's a systemic cover-up of what has been going on. This is just a progression of the genocide that has been going on Amharas all over the country, and now it's more focused and it's more conventionally done using, the actual defense forces of the country. And then it went beyond that. Then now they're deploying special forces from other ethnic regions, deployed as if they're the different national forces. So basically, the fact that there is not a very organized, strong international advocacy group. Amharas are struggling. Everything is done volunteer-based, the diaspora groups. There's not enough funding. Everybody's, using their time to try and expose this genocide and war that's ongoing against our people. There is a huge gap in terms of resources and capability in exposing this war. And in contrast, we're up against a regime that's using all the resources of the nation, whether it's financing it takes from IMF or World Bank, whether it's special projects it kind of takes from, whether it's USAID, DFID, or all the other international aid or bilateral aid organizations and multinational organizations. There is not enough follow-up in terms of checking where they spend the money. All the money that's taken in terms of development, prosperity, and budgets that come into the country are all being directed for this war against Amharas. And there are nations that are actually allowing this regime to wage war against innocent civilians by providing, drone technology, like countries like the UAE, United Arab Emirates, Turkey, China. So it's a multitude of axis of forces that we're up against, whereas these are Amhara people who have been, cornered and have been the exact word, targeted and not empowered for over 35 years. So it shows you the huge the polarity between the forces we're up against, a regime that kind of gets huge support internationally, whereas with people that have been targeted for over 35 years and now culminating into an all-out war waged by a national defense force and other special forces from other regions.
Absolutely, Dr. Senay. But there are also horrific allegations of sexual violence and mutilation against captured female Fano fighters. Is this verified, first of all? And if it is, how does this level of alleged brutality reflect a horrifying shift, in the rules of war being prosecuted by state-affiliated forces?
Yeah, this is absolutely shocking. This is what we've been grappling with the entire 6 years. This is the kind of crimes that has been happening against innocent Amhara civilians in Amharas that live outside the so-called Amhara region, in Oromo region, in Benishangul region. This has been going on, and we've been reporting, we've been saying horrific, brutal killing methods have been used to cleanse Amharas, to write off Amharas from the face of Ethiopia, the only nation they are founding, by the way. Amharas are indigenous. The only nation they have is Ethiopia. So what we see is the same tactics, the same mode of operation being deployed within the Amhara region, within the context of the war. So the reason why Fanos went to war to start with, is to stop this genocide, to stop this brutality, to stop this atrocity that has been happening for years, for decades against Amhara people, which has gone worse the last 6-7 years. So now it used to be the National Defense Force that was deployed into the region, but from what we've learned from the Northern War, like I said, from the earlier war, it seems like the regime has a capacity of sustaining about 2 years of, training to deployment, kind of the chain of getting national forces ready. This is the 3rd year that the war against Amhara is being waged. So after that time, they start kind of, from experience, from the pattern we've seen, they started deploying other region ethnic special forces in the name of the National Defense Force. And this time, they actually deployed the Oromo Special Forces. And these are the same forces that were actually related with committing such kind of heinous crimes against resident ethnic Amharas in these special genocidal hotspot areas in the west and south of Ethiopia that I talked about. So what we're seeing now is they're actually deployed already. They've started, what we've seen is the case of 2 Amhara Fano National Force combatants. One is this female Fano Balamwase, and another is a female Fano Tigist Wedajo. They've been captured. They have been mutilated, tortured alive. In case of in case of Fano Balam, she had a tattoo that states Amhara on her skin, on her hand, and that has been skinned off while she's still alive. And if as you've seen, it's been recorded in a number of the image itself is brutal. In case of Fano Tigist, her entire breast has been cut off and thrown off to the people. So this is a mode of operation that they use to scare the people so that they don't defend themselves. So they didn't come up with an organized way of protecting themselves. So so basically, I want to contrast with the way the Amhara Fanos are conducting themselves in terms of dealing with prisoners of war. There was a huge operation, a Banado operation, that has been undertaken by the East Sector Minilik Command of Amhara Fano National Force, and they had tons of defense force prisoners of wars. They followed the correct procedure according to Geneva Conventions, where they used a third party, ICRC, to hand over these prisoners of wars. Now contrast that with the brutality we see with how the Ethiopian regime is handling captives. So this is, for us, this is actually an evidence to show that what we've been talking about, that there is a genocide against Amharas going on, and the reason why Fanos are fighting back is actually to really stop this. And this is an actual evidence. So the only thing that I really want to communicate to the outside world, to the international community, to mandated bilateral and multilateral organizations, is that we are on a beginning of another horrific outlook, where what we've seen in Welaga and Matakal, that horrific atrocities might happen through the context of this war again. They've just begun deploying the Oromo Special Forces in the name of National Defense Force, Ethiopia National Defense Force. So the international community should stand with us, medias, anyone who could really become a voice to stop this brutality from happening against Amhara people.
All right, now quickly, just before we let you go, Dr. Senay, is peace even possible? Because after the immense bloodshed and the complete collapse of trust, what realistic path to a non-military political settlement exists today?
Thank you. The hope was always for peace to prevail. Especially in case of Amhara forces, the context of the entire Ethiopian people, but also in the context of Amhara. This is our topic today. Peace is something that we've been chasing for years, because this system happens to pit one ethnic group against the other. But time and again, we've been disappointed. There are always cases where, because sometimes when things are mutually exclusive, when the regime is only after eradicating you, because coming up to a kind of resolution, there has to be some kind of common interest. This regime is, intent is to destroy Amharas, to eradicate Amharas. There has been, for the last 35 years, there has been a number of cases where people compromised, tried to discuss, tried to come up with, self-governance, ways of changing the system that technically allows for Amhara people to be targeted and cornered in such a way. But there has been, unless it's fake lip service in order to get some kind of, periodical international aid in terms of bilateral aid or World Bank or IMF loans, there hasn't been a serious commitment from the regime. So what the people have learned right now is that it's not just the genocide that's ongoing against Amharas, the problem in Ethiopia right now. There is a huge, life cost. There is a huge crime, corruption, concentration camps around the country, a complete, out of control, in a way, like arbitrary arrests, torture, etc. So it seems like people are more and more looking at the Fano forces as the legitimate vehicle towards peace and stability, rather than trusting a regime that has been perpetrating genocide, war crimes, etc. So there is a hope for removing the regime and laying out a pathway to get everyone, the rest of the other actors on a kind of a common ground, so that Ethiopians can move forward to a better future. But with this regime, it seems like there is absolutely no commitment to come midway and lead us into peace.
Okay. Well, I really wish, we had more time to speak more extensively on this, but we'd love to thank you, Dr. Senait Senay, for joining us and sharing your thoughts.
Thank you so much. It's always great being here. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.